I look at his life, he left his own children. He left 3 children, and then he was saddled with my mother's too. It pushed me 2 skirts, one short, one long as the bottom of a gown, and I said,
The golden age of Hollywood has lost one of its brightest stars, and the silence that followed was almost as heartbreaking as the loss itself. For days, fans around the world waited to hear from Barbra Streisand, the legendary singer and actress who shared some of cinema's most magical moments with Robert Redford. When she finally spoke, her words touched millions of hearts and reminded us why some movie partnerships become timeless treasures that live forever in our memories. That on September 16th, 2025, the entertainment world stood still when news broke that Robert Redford, the golden-haired heartthrob who captured hearts for over 6 decades, had passed away at his beloved Sundance home in Utah. He was 89 years old, surrounded by the people he loved most in the place that meant everything to him. The man who gave us unforgettable characters like the Sundance Kid and brought environmental activism to Hollywood had taken his final bow. For several days after the shocking announcement, Hollywood stars began sharing their memories and paying tribute to the iconic actor and director. Jane Fonda spoke through tears about losing her dear friend. Leonardo DiCaprio honored the man who founded the Sundance Film Festival. Meryl Streep called him a visionary. But there was one voice that fans were desperately waiting to hear from, and that was Barbra Streisand. Barbra and Robert shared something truly special on screen. Their 1973 romantic drama, The Way We Were, became one of the most beloved movies of all time. The chemistry between Katie Morosky and Hubble Gardner wasn't just acting. It was movie magic at its finest. The film earned Barbra an Academy Award nomination and gave the world a theme song that still brings tears to people's eyes today. When Barbra sings, "Memories light the corners of my mind," millions of fans think immediately of her and Robert together on that big screen. But creating that movie magic wasn't always easy. Behind the cameras, Barbra and Robert were complete opposites in almost every way imaginable. She was a perfectionist from Brooklyn who grew up in a small apartment, always fighting to prove herself in a tough industry. He was laid back and natural, a California guy who seemed born for the spotlight. She was intense and focused, while he preferred a more relaxed approach to acting. These differences could have destroyed their working relationship, but instead, they created something beautiful and real that translated perfectly to the screen. When Robert first read the script for The Way We Were, he wasn't sure he wanted to do it. The story seemed too much like a typical Hollywood romance, and he worried about being typecast as just another pretty face. But Barbra believed in the project with all her heart. She saw something deeper in the story about 2 people from different worlds who fall in love despite their differences. She convinced Robert to take the role, and that decision changed both of their lives forever. During filming, their different working styles created some tension on set. Barbra liked to rehearse scenes over and over until they were perfect. She would suggest changes to dialogue and ask directors to try different camera angles. Robert preferred to trust his instincts and go with the flow. He worried that too much preparation might make their performances feel stiff and unnatural. Despite these creative differences, both actors respected each other's talents deeply. The movie's most famous scene, where Katie and Hubble meet again years later at the Plaza Hotel in New York, required both actors to show a lifetime of regret and lost love in just a few minutes of screen time. Barbra later said that Robert's quiet intensity in that scene was some of the finest acting she had ever witnessed. The way he looked at her, with so much sadness and longing in his eyes, broke her heart every time they filmed it. After The Way We Were became a massive hit, earning over $22 million at the box office and touching hearts around the world, both Barbra and Robert went on to have incredible careers. But they always maintained a special respect and fondness for each other. In interviews over the years, Robert often spoke about Barbra's incredible talent and work ethic. He said she taught him that caring deeply about your craft wasn't something to be embarrassed about. Barbra, for her part, never forgot how patient Robert was with her during filming. As someone who was still relatively new to acting at the time, she appreciated how he made her feel comfortable and supported. She often said that working with Robert taught her that great acting comes from being truthful in the moment, not from trying to be impressive. Over the decades that followed, both stars became legends in their own right. Robert founded the Sundance Film Festival, directed acclaimed movies like Ordner, Why People, and became a passionate environmental activist. Barbra became one of the best-selling music artists of all time, directed groundbreaking films, and used her platform to fight for causes she believed in. Though their careers took different paths, they always spoke warmly of each other in interviews and at industry events. When Robert announced his retirement from acting in 2018, Barbra was among the first to congratulate him publicly. She praised his contributions to cinema and his dedication to supporting independent filmmakers through Sundance. She said he had inspired a whole generation of artists to tell stories that mattered, not just stories that would make money to S.O. When news of Robert's death spread around the world on that September day, fans immediately wondered what Barbra would say. How do you sum up a friendship and professional relationship that spanned more than 50 years? How do you honor someone who helped create one of your most treasured memories? For several days, Barbra remained silent, and people began to worry that perhaps she was too heartbroken to speak. Then, on her Instagram account, Barbra finally shared her thoughts, and her words were worth the wait. She posted a beautiful black and white photo from The Way We Were, showing her and Robert in one of their most tender scenes together. In her caption, she opened her heart to the world and shared memories that had clearly stayed with her for decades. Every day on the set of The Way We Were was exciting, intense, and pure joy, Barbra wrote, and you could feel the emotion behind every word. She talked about how different they were as people, mentioning that Robert came from a world of horses while she was allergic to them. This small detail perfectly captured their opposite backgrounds, but also showed how they found humor in their differences. Barbra called Robert charismatic, intelligent, intense, always interesting, and said he was one of the finest actors ever. Coming from someone who had worked with the biggest names in Hollywood, this praise carried extra weight. She wasn't just being polite or saying what people expected to hear. These were the genuine feelings of someone who had witnessed Robert's talent up close and personal. But perhaps the most touching part of Barbara's tribute was when she wrote, "He was one of a kind, and I'm grateful I knew him." These simple words carried the weight of a lifetime of memories. They spoke to the special bond that forms between actors who create something meaningful together. When you watch The Way We Were today, you're not just seeing two characters fall in love. You're seeing the mutual respect and affection between two legendary performers. Barbara's tribute reminded fans why The Way We Were remains such a beloved film more than 50 years after its release. It wasn't just about the beautiful cinematography or the memorable soundtrack. It was about two incredibly talented people who brought their real emotions and experiences to their characters. The love story on screen felt authentic because the friendship behind the cameras was genuine. In the days following Barbra's statement, fans from around the world began sharing their own memories of watching The Way We Were. Social media filled with clips from a movie, photos of the two stars together, and stories about how the film had touched people's lives. Many fans talked about watching the movie with their parents or grandparents, passing down the love for this classic Hollywood romance from one generation to the next. The timing of Robert's death also felt especially poignant to many fans. In a world that often feels divided and angry, The Way We Were reminds us of a time when movies could bring people together through shared emotions and universal themes. The story of Katie and Hubble, two people who love each other despite their differences but ultimately can't make it work, resonates just as strongly today as it did in 1973. Robert's death also highlighted his incredible impact on the entertainment industry beyond just his acting career. Through the Sundance Film Festival, he helped launch the careers of countless independent filmmakers and brought important stories to mainstream audiences. Movies that might never have been seen by wide audiences found their way to theaters because of Robert's vision and support as an environmental activist. Robert was ahead of his time in warning about climate change and fighting to protect natural spaces. His passion for the environment wasn't just a celebrity hobby. It was a lifelong commitment that influenced his business decisions and personal choices. He put his money and his fame behind causes he believed in, showing other celebrities how to use their platforms responsibly. Barbara's tribute also reminded people of her own incredible journey in the entertainment industry. Like Robert, she used her success to support causes she cared about and to create opportunities for other artists. Her decision to direct films like Yentl and The Prince of Tides broke barriers for women in Hollywood and showed that female filmmakers could create both critically acclaimed and commercially successful movies. The friendship between Barbra and Robert also represented something beautiful about old Hollywood, the idea that competitors could also be collaborators and friends. In today's entertainment industry, where every interaction seems calculated for social media and publicity, their genuine respect for each other feels refreshing and authentic. Looking back at the way we were now, after Robert's death, the movie takes on new meaning. The famous final scene, where Katie watches Hubble from across the street and then walks away into the crowd, feels like a metaphor for how we all have to say goodbye to people we love. Sometimes goodbye is temporary, and sometimes it's forever, but the memories we create together live on in our hearts. Barbara's decision to share her memories publicly was a gift to fans who had been touched by her work with Robert. By opening up about their friendship and professional relationship, she helped people process their own grief over losing someone who had brought them so much joy through his performances. Her words reminded us that celebrities are also human beings who feel loss and sadness just like everyone else. The response to Barbra's tribute showed how much the way we were still means to people today. Comments poured in from fans of all ages, sharing their own connections to the movie. Some talked about dancing to the theme song at their weddings. Others mentioned watching the film during difficult times in their lives and finding comfort in its message about love and memory. Many simply thanked Barbra for sharing her feelings so honestly and beautifully. Robert Redford's legacy will live on through his incredible body of work, both as an actor and as a director. Movies like Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, All the President's Men, and The Sting will continue to entertain and inspire future generations. His commitment to independent cinema through Sundance will keep supporting new voices and fresh perspectives in filmmaking. His environmental activism will hopefully continue to influence others to protect our planet for future generations. But for many people, Robert will always be remembered most fondly as Hubble Gardiner, the golden boy who won Katie Morosky's heart in The Way We Were. And Barbra Streisand's heartfelt tribute ensures that their beautiful on-screen partnership will never be forgotten. Her words remind us that behind every great movie are real people who care about their craft and respect each other's talents. As we remember Robert Redford and celebrate his remarkable life and career, we can take comfort in knowing that his work will continue to bring joy to people for generations to come. And thanks to Barbra Streisand's touching tribute, we also know that he was not just a great actor and director, but also a good friend who touched the lives of the people who knew him personally. The Way We Were indeed lucky to have witnessed the magic that happened when these two incredible talents came together to create something timeless and beautiful. Robert Redford may be gone, but the memories he created, both on screen and off, will light the corners of our minds forever. If you enjoyed learning about this touching tribute from Barbra Streisand to her dear friend and co-star Robert Redford, please give this video a thumbs up to show your support. Share it with other fans of classic Hollywood movies who might appreciate hearing about this beautiful friendship and professional partnership. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel and ring that notification bell so you never miss our latest videos about your favorite stars and the stories behind the movies you love. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.